Hello and welcome to my dungeon. If you have watched my last video, you know how to make traps fun and engaging by using them as puzzles. But there are other uses for traps as well. You can, for example, use them to spice up your encounters. And I don't mean just to make your fights more tactical or your ambushes more deadly, but also to change the dynamics of a social encounter. It's hard to put any method in this application. It's more of a concept you have to keep in mind when coming up with encounters. But let me discuss some concepts so you get an idea. Let's start with social encounters. What traps do here is they change the power balance of the encounter. Through the use of traps, one side can gain power over the other side that it would not otherwise have. For example, when the villain has lured the heroes into an ambush or pit trap and can now recite his evil monologue to the overpowered characters. This scenario can be played in several ways, depending on how the power is used. It could be that this negotiating advantage is used to pressure the characters into doing something they don't want to do, like giving up a powerful artifact, or the princess or something, your MacGuffin. This highlights the dastardly nature of the villain, and the characters will despise him even more than before, and anticipate the next time they meet the villain in more favorable circumstances to turn the tables on him. But the villain could also not abuse the power they have gained. They just use it as an opportunity to talk to the party, present their point of view, and then let the party go. This presents the villain in a more sympathetic light and provides opportunity for moral conflict and drama that is hard to achieve if the character just attacked the villain at first sight. Of course, the party can use traps in the same way. Overpower and pressure the villain into giving them what they want, or just talk to them, or kill them for that matter. Traps also give the opportunity to leave both sides powerless. If both sides are caught in the trap, be it by mistake or even deliberately, their conflicts takes a back seat to their immediate problem. You could play this several ways. Maybe they just happen to meet in a room full of explosive gas, and any fighting risks setting off an explosion, killing them all. This gives them an opportunity to talk when they would otherwise just fight. Or maybe they are both caught in a deadly trap. Maybe the room's flooding, the ceiling's coming down, forcing them to temporarily put their differences aside and work together to escape the trap. For all of this, huge traps lend themselves that turn entire rooms or buildings hazardous. A bit more straightforward is the use of traps to spice up a combat encounter. The easiest way is to use traps in combination with an ambush to give one side a tactical advantage. Lure the enemy into a carefully laid trap and then take them down. This can either be employed by the players to take down a powerful enemy they dare not to face in open combat, or it can be used by the GM to make even weak monsters like kobolds or goblins into a challenging encounter. When used like this, traps mostly complicate the battlefield, hindering the characters' movements and keeping them from effectively attacking the otherwise weak foes. You can also use traps to complicate the battlefield without any side having a significant tactical advantage. If the fight just happens to break out in a heavily trapped room, both sides need to take care not to step in any. This gives the opportunity for combat actions beside attacks and spells. And it's super fun to push an enemy into a spiked pit or to blow up a fire wine barrel right next to them. You can also use traps to create a dynamic battlefield. Maybe have a giant stone ball roll over the battlefield every 2 turns. Or have ever more floor tiles collapse into a deep pit forcing the remaining combatants onto ever less space they can safely stand on. Traps can also be used to impose a ticking time bomb to combat. I mean, you can literally place a ticking time bomb in the middle of the battlefield. Different combat objective like this completely changes the tactics and dynamics of the combat. Or you could have the combat take place in a flooding room, with both sides trying to get out as they try to kill each other. Or maybe the ceiling is slowly coming down and there are only so many corners to press yourself into to avoid a two-dimensional fate. Keep in mind, for all of these uses, the PCs should be aware of the traps and their function. If they trigger a trap involuntarily because they were not aware of the trap, it's just an unfair sucker punch. For social encounters, you want the PCs to know of the trap and the difficult situation they find themselves in. The trap is not the focus here. It just enables the special dynamics of the social encounter. In a combat encounter, you want to use the traps to complicate and spice up the battlefield, not as a straight-up use to one side's damage per round. Make it clear where the traps are and what their effects are. That gives the players the chance to adjust their tactics to mitigate the traps, or even turn the tables and use the traps to their advantage, which is a super satisfying thing to do. Anyway, that's all I have for today. If you like videos like this, consider liking it down below and subscribing to my channel. There's more where this came from. For now, I bid thee farewell, dreamers, until we shall meet again.